Before we dive into today's story, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us till the very end. And if this story moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. Now, let's begin. Amara Collins was 17, a quiet storm in the corner of her family's world. Top of her class, with sketchbooks full of architectural arches and charcoal renderings of forgotten statues, she often found solace in her room, where posters of Roman temples and Renaissance masters covered every wall. "Amara, dinner's ready!" Her mother's voice echoed sharply up the staircase, breaking the soft scratch of pencil on paper. With a sigh, she set her sketchbook down, her heart tightening. Dinner meant the same as always. Megan, her younger sister, at the center of attention, and Amara herself fading into the wallpaper. She pushed herself up, brushed eraser shavings off her jeans, and trudged down the hall, telling herself not to hope for more. The dining table glowed under the chandelier, but the warmth never seemed to reach her. Her sister, Megan, full of sparkle and chaos, sat sprawled in her chair, phone in hand, thumbs flying. Amara slid quietly into her seat. "How was your day, Megan?" their mother asked immediately, eyes lighting up as though Amara hadn't even entered the room. Megan flipped her glossy hair back. "Boring. Mr. Johnson gave me detention again." "He's such a jerk," she muttered with a smirk. Their father leaned forward protectively, his voice full of indignation. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I'll speak to the principal. That teacher's clearly targeting you." Amara bit back a laugh, rolling her eyes. Megan skipped class, caused scenes, and still their parents painted her as a victim. "And you, Amara? Anything new?" Her grandfather finally spoke up, his voice rich with kindness. For once, someone's gaze met hers, and it didn't feel like glass. Amara straightened a little, hope flickering in her chest. "Actually, yes. I got an A on my Italian test today." She smiled shyly, but the moment barely lasted. "That's nice, dear," her mother interrupted, already turning back to Megan. "Now, about your cheerleading competition." The conversation pivoted sharply, as though Amara's words had never existed. Her smile fell, cheeks burning, and she stabbed at her food. Grandpa caught her gaze and winked, a silent reminder that she wasn't as invisible as she felt. But the warmth quickly cooled again, and the table became a stage where she was the forgotten extra. She thought of the envelope of bills hidden in her room, the little savings she called her Rome Fund. At least there, in her dreams, she was center stage. Later that night, Amara sat cross-legged on her bed, the jar of savings before her. 200 more, she whispered to herself, fingers counting and recounting the crumpled bills. Her heart beat faster at the thought of stepping onto Italian soil, of sketching the Colosseum beneath the sun. A knock startled her. She shoved the jar behind a pillow. "Come in," she called quickly. The door creaked open, revealing her grandmother's gentle smile. "Amara, dear, your grandfather and I have something for you." Amara's pulse raced. Could it be? Grandpa shuffled in behind her, an envelope in his weathered hands. "We know how hard you've worked, and how much you love Italian culture," he said softly, pressing it into her trembling fingers. "This is for you." With shaking hands, Amara tore open the flap, her eyes widening as the contents spilled into her lap. "No way," she gasped. "Is this real?" 2 tickets, shining, embossed Rome. Her chest tightened with joy, tears springing to her eyes. "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you." She threw her arms around them, clinging to the only people who seemed to see her. Grandma chuckled, her voice warm. "It's very real, sweetheart. You've earned it." Just then, the door burst open. Megan stood there, scowling. "What's all the noise about?" Amara beamed, unable to hide her glow. "Grandma and Grandpa got me tickets to Rome for graduation." Megan's face darkened instantly. What? That's not fair. I'm the one who needs a vacation. Her words stabbed at the joy, but Amara refused to let them pierce her bubble. For once, the world had tilted in her favor, and she wasn't going to give it up easily. The following morning, Amara woke with the tickets tucked beneath her pillow, as though their presence alone could guard her dream. She floated through her morning routine, brushing her long hair, sliding her sketchbook into her backpack, unable to suppress the grin tugging at her lips. The smell of toast drifted up the stairs, pulling her down to the living room. She expected warmth, maybe even her parents' begrudging congratulations. Instead, the sight that greeted her froze her mid-step. Her entire family, mother, father, Megan, grandparents, were gathered with solemn faces, as though staging an intervention. "What's going on?" she asked, confusion lacing her voice. Her father cleared his throat, avoiding her eyes. "Amara, we've been thinking about those Rome tickets." She clutched the strap of her bag tighter. "Yeah," she said cautiously. "Isn't it great? I can't wait to. We think it would be better if Megan went instead." Her mother interrupted coldly. The words slammed into Amara like a physical blow. "What?" she breathed, shaking her head. "No, those tickets are mine. Grandma and Grandpa gave them to me." Megan smirked, already leaning back smugly in her chair. "Don't be selfish, Amara. You know I've been under a lot of stress lately. I need this trip more than you." Amara's voice cracked. "You've got to be kidding me. You skip class, you break rules, and you get rewarded with my dream." Grandpa slammed his hand on the armrest, his face flushed with anger. "Enough! Those tickets were a gift to Amara for her hard work, not Megan." Grandma nodded, her lips trembling. "This isn't right." But her parents stood firm, her father's tone dismissive. "Megan has been struggling, and this could really help her reset. Amara will be fine. She's always fine." Amara's jaw clenched, her chest tightening as her world seemed to crumble. "Always fine," she echoed bitterly. "Do you even hear yourselves? You're stealing from me." Her father's glare sharpened. "Watch your tone." Megan rolled her eyes dramatically. "Oh my God, Amara. It's just a trip. Stop acting like the world is ending. It is ending." Amara snapped, her voice rising. "It's my dream, Megan. Mine." For a moment, silence blanketed the room. Her grandparents looked stricken. Her mother's mouth was a thin line, and her father's hand twitched like he wanted to end the conversation with force. Finally, Amara's shoulders sagged. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Fine. Take the stupid tickets." Tears blurred her vision as she bolted upstairs, slamming her door so hard the frame rattled. She collapsed onto her bed, sobs racking her body. Dreams weren't meant for invisible daughters, apparently. The days that followed became a haze. Amara drifted through classes like a ghost, her sketchbook gathering dust in her bag. She skipped dinners, ignoring Megan's gloating chatter about Rome, Paris, and all the glamorous adventures she claimed she would have. Every word was a dagger, twisting deeper. One afternoon, as she scrolled absently through her phone, voices drifted from her parents' bedroom. She froze. "We can't keep doing this, John," her mother hissed, her tone tight with panic. "The credit cards are maxed out, and the bank keeps calling about the mortgage." Her father's voice rumbled back, low but sharp. I know. But what choice do we have? We can't let Megan's mistakes ruin her future." Amara's heart pounded in her ears. "Mistakes?" Her stomach knotted. She crept closer, pressing against the door. "Maybe we can dip into Amara's college fund again," her mother whispered. The air left Amara's lungs. She slapped her hand over her mouth to keep from gasping aloud. Again, her mind spun, fragments clicking into place. The new car Megan got last year, the expensive cheerleading camp, the endless shopping sprees, all of it funded by her, her hard-earned savings, her future. She stumbled back to her room, nausea crawling through her. "They've been stealing from me," she whispered into the emptiness, her voice shaking. Rage ignited in her chest, hotter than her tears. That night, she lay awake staring at the ceiling, her mind a storm of betrayal and calculation. How long had they been draining her? How much had they taken? And more importantly, what was she going to do about it? By morning, the answer burned like a vow. She wasn't going to stay invisible anymore. The next morning, Amara forced a smile as she slid into her chair at breakfast. Megan was babbling about her upcoming Roman adventure, her fork twirling eggs as though she had already claimed the Colosseum as her personal stage. "I'm even thinking about extending my stay," she bragged. "Maybe hop over to Paris, too." Their parents exchanged wary glances, but said nothing. Amara chewed silently, her mind a sharp blade beneath the calm mask. "Sounds great," she murmured, though every syllable burned. As soon as she stepped outside, she detoured away from school and headed toward the bank. Her pulse hammered in her throat as she slid her ID across the counter. "Could you check my college account balance?" she asked. The clerk's polite smile faltered as she clicked through records. "I'm sorry, Miss Collins, but your account has been nearly emptied. Only a few hundred remain." Amara's world tilted. Her vision swam. She forced a tight smile, thanked the clerk, and stumbled out into the street, the truth crashing down around her. They hadn't just stolen her trip. They had stolen her future. At school, she cornered her best friend, Liam Ortega, at his locker. "Jake, I need your help," she blurted, her voice a harsh whisper. Liam's eyes narrowed. "You look like you've seen a ghost. What happened?" She leaned closer, words spilling fast. "My parents, they drained my college fund. They're covering Megan's screw-ups. I need to know everything. Every transfer, every shady deal. And I know you can get into those records." His brows shot up. "Amara, you're asking me to hack your family." She gripped his sleeve, desperation gleaming in her eyes. "Please, I have nothing left. I need proof." Liam studied her for a long beat, then nodded slowly. "All right, meet me in the library after last bell. If they've stolen from you, we'll find it." Relief mixed with dread in her chest. She had set something dangerous in motion, and there was no turning back. For the next week, Liam and Amara hunched over glowing laptop screens, hidden in the quiet corners of the library. Each click unearthed uglier truths. "Look at this," Liam whispered one afternoon, pointing at a spreadsheet. "Your dad's been siphoning money from the family business for years." Amara leaned in, her pulse spiking. "Where is it going?" He opened another file, shaking his head. "Car payments, bail money, credit card bills, all in Megan's name." Amara's stomach dropped. "Bail money," she echoed. "What has she even done?" Liam grimaced. "Shoplifting, DUI, fraud. It's all here, Amara. Your father has been covering everything up." She pressed a trembling hand to her forehead. "This is insane." Her voice cracked. "My whole life is gone because of them." Liam's eyes met hers steadily. "You know what you have to do." Her chest tightened. She did know, but the thought of destroying her family made her sick. Yet so did the thought of losing her future forever. That night, Amara paced her room, clutching the damning printouts in her fists. Her grandparents needed to see. They deserved to know the truth. The following evening, she laid everything out on their kitchen table. Grandma's hands flew to her mouth, tears welling. "How could they do this to you?" she whispered. Grandpa's face was stone, his jaw tight with fury. "What do you need from us, Amara?" he asked gravely. She swallowed. "Your support, and maybe a place to stay if this explodes." His answer was immediate. "You'll always have a home here." Tears pricked her eyes as she nodded. Next, she approached her history teacher, Ms. Alvarez, a woman who had always encouraged her passions. After hearing the story, Ms. Alvarez shook her head in disbelief. This is serious, Amara. Are you sure you want to go through with exposing them? Amara's voice was steady. I have to. For me. And for Megan too, before they ruin her completely. The teacher sighed, but nodded. Then you'll have my help. With her allies behind her, Amara and Liam crafted a plan. The family reunion next month, Liam said, tapping his pen against the table. All your dad's business partners will be there. We can set up hidden cameras, present evidence, maybe even catch them incriminating themselves. Amara's heart raced. You think it will work? Liam leaned closer. It has to. We'll make sure they can't deny it. They mapped every detail, where to hide the cameras, how to trigger the recordings, when to reveal the truth. As the plan solidified, Amara felt a strange calm settle over her. For once, she wasn't the invisible child. She was the storm about to break. Liam squeezed her hand across the table. You okay? He asked gently. She met his gaze and took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm ready. It's time they finally saw me. The day of the reunion arrived, the Collins home buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses. Relatives filled the living room, balancing plates of food, while her father schmoozed his business partners with forced charm. Amara moved quietly through the crowd, helping Grandma set out dishes, her eyes scanning for Liam. He gave her a subtle nod from across the room. Everything was ready. Cameras hidden, recordings primed. Megan, draped in glittering jewelry bought with Amara's future, bragged loudly to cousins about her month in Rome. Amara clenched her fists, forcing her smile to stay. Finally, she tapped her glass. The room hushed. Her voice wavered at first, but grew steadier. I'd like to make a toast, she said, to family and to truth. A ripple of unease passed through the crowd. Then she nodded to Liam. He hit play. The television screen flickered alive, displaying spreadsheets, bank transfers, incriminating conversations recorded between her parents. Gasps filled the air. Her father's face drained of color. What is this? He barked. Amara's voice rang clear. This is the truth about where our family's money has been going. Into covering Megan's crimes. Into stealing my future. Chaos erupted. Business partners shouted in outrage. Aunts and uncles demanded explanations. Megan shrieked, You can't do this to me. Her words cracked, panic lacing them. How am I supposed to pay for my DUI lawyer now? The room froze. You're what? Her mother blurted, eyes wide. Megan clapped a hand over her mouth, but it was too late. The floodgates burst. She spilled everything. The drunk driving, the shoplifting, the credit card fraud. With each confession, their parents sagged further, the weight of their lies crushing them. Sirens wailed outside just as the room reached a fever pitch. Ms. Alvarez had kept her promise, alerting the authorities at the perfect moment. Police officers filed in, voices firm as they read out charges and slapped handcuffs on Amara's father and Megan. Her mother was left trembling, pale, as officers cited her complicity in draining accounts. The business partners stormed out, disgust etched across their faces. Amara stood tall in the chaos, her heart pounding, her body trembling. She felt relief and sorrow in equal measure. This was justice, but it was also the end of the family she had once begged to notice her. Her grandfather wrapped an arm around her shoulders, steadying her. You did the right thing, Amara, he said softly. We're proud of you. For the first time, she believed him. The weeks that followed blurred with court hearings and testimonies. Her father faced years in prison for embezzlement. Megan was charged with multiple offenses. Her golden girl facade shattered. Her mother was given probation for her lesser role, but carried the weight of shame. Through it all, Amara stayed with her grandparents, their home a haven of warmth and safety. One evening, as they sat sipping tea, her grandmother reached across the table, her eyes shining with love. How would you feel about us becoming your legal guardians? Amara's throat tightened. "I'd love that," she whispered, hugging them tightly. For once she belonged. When the dust finally settled, restitution was ordered. Every stolen dollar returned, including her college fund. And those Rome tickets? They were hers again, just as her grandparents had intended. That summer, instead of moping in her room, Amara found herself strolling through the Roman Forum with her grandparents, sketchbook in hand, gelato dripping down her wrist as she laughed. She traced the curve of ancient columns, her heart full. "To justice and gelato," Grandpa said with a grin, raising his cone. Amara laughed, lifting hers to clink against his. "Perfect," she said, meaning every syllable. The city was more beautiful than she had ever dreamed, and this time it was hers. Years later, Amara stood in a gallery in Florence, her own artwork displayed across pristine white walls. She was 21 now, a junior at a top art school, interning at one of Europe's most prestigious museums. Critics murmured praises as they studied her sketches of Rome, her paintings of light and shadow. Her grandparents beamed in the front row, her anchor in the storm. She thought briefly of her parents and Megan, her father still serving time, her mother working quietly, her sister struggling through community college. For the first time, Amara didn't feel invisible. She was more than the forgotten daughter. She was an artist, a survivor, a young woman who had fought for her future. And as she planned her next trip, this time to Florence for her master's degree, she smiled to herself. Sometimes, losing a family can give you the strength to build your own. Like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.